Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of Ravens Magic School. I'm Tim Ravens. Recently I've been studying a lot of different types of magic. I have a couple different teachers that are sharing some stuff with me, some really interesting and cool stuff. And also for some reason, when I learn things, I feel like I have to teach them to others. I just feel like something calls me that I have to, share what I've learned, and it also helps me learn better and understand better when I teach others. So I hope I can inspire you to learn about this stuff and show you that this is a lot more than just make-believe parlor trick magic. This is a different type of magic. It's something I like to call mind magic. Also, I like to call it self-transformation magic. Kind of teaches the principles of faith and how to change your view on life and not be polarized or swayed to one side or ideas, thoughts, religions, politics, and so on. Let's face it, the biggest magic trick of the world is how to have a successful and happy life, right? So let's get into it. I hope I can teach you.
I was just like you. I lost my innocence, but I found the truth. It wasn't love, it was something new. I'm changing, rearranging. You'll understand when you see what I'm done.
Now, this first stuff, it may seem kind of boring or like you don't want to hear it, but if you're really interested in magic and changing your life and becoming successful and really actually working magic to help your life, then we have to learn these first things, and I'm going to share them with you. At first I was kind of let down, when I figured out what magic really was. You think it's going to be some grand thing, but then once you really, really understand it, it blows your mind, and you're like, wow, this is actually more than I thought. It's more than the card and parlor tricks. It's about changing your life and changing yourself to become better and successful. It's true magic. Once you learn to control yourself and your mind, then you can start messing with other people. But the key thing is to get your mind set first and your ideas set first, and then you can start moving further. But first you got to understand these base things. You can't change someone else's view or mind if your mind isn't made up, so let's get that mind made up. Let's see what we can do. Everything starts with the perspective of the mind. Perspective is like choosing the best glasses that help you see what you must do to be positive or successful, or to help you realize your true view on religion, what steps you want to take, that best fit you and your path that you want to follow. To get into that state of mind sometimes really hard. You got people telling you this and that, and you really just got to center yourself and really think about things. It relates to a lot of things, where you want to work, what kind of religion you want to have, but you can't make a clear decision if somebody's telling you one thing over and over and you don't take the time to actually read into that or study it. You just take what they said and you say, well, I don't want to do that, I'm going to do this. Well, that's not how you should be. You should learn how to be in the middle, so you can kind of get a clear perspective or truth of both sides, so you can make the right decision on what you want to do. Now, perspective is the law of mentality. The law of mentality is one of the 7 Hermetic principles. It is said that all magic is worked through the guidelines and principles of the Hermetic laws. I'm going to explain the 7 Hermetic laws here in a few minutes, but back to the mind. The mind is depicted as the crown in this diagram I'm going to use to explain some of these things. It's called the Kabbalistic Tree of Life. The mind, or the crown, is at the top. The diagram is made up of the pillars of severity and mercy. Severity is the negative, mercy is the positive. These pillars are also known as the pillars of polarity. These pillars represent duality in all forms, which is another one of the Hermetic principles. Everything has duality. White, black, on, off, up, down, male, female. all things are the same, but opposite polarities. People who are polarized, sometimes just how they were born or raised, that's how they were programmed. They're easily manipulated or controlled. It's not a bad thing or their fault, it's just how their subconscious mind was made or programmed when they were little. But the goal is to reground yourself and be sort of in the middle, so you can kind of get a clear view of both truths. Let's see, all truths are but half-truths. It's kind of paradoxical, but you'll understand. Depending on the person, it's your choice how to perceive these truths. Don't let someone or something else create that subconscious truth or idea for you. Now, like I mentioned before, your magic must be worked with the Hermetic laws to be effective, and through the pillars and the moon. The pillars have the moon in the center of them because all magic is worked through the moon. And I'll kind of explain the phases of the moon and, what kind of things are stronger in certain phases and what are weaker. I mean, you can do magic anytime you want, but the phases of the moon have a lot to do with it. It's quite amazing, actually, once you start to learn about it. But basically, at certain times of the moon, other spells or methods will be enhanced or stronger. So you want to kind of align yourself with the moon and, plan your workings and things like that. Okay, on to the Hermetic laws. First of all, Hermetic. What does Hermetic mean? Well, Hermetic means completely sealed, airtight, hidden or protected from the outside world, unchangeable ancient science. So basically, it's the basics that magic has to abide by or correspond with. That's the way I see it. The first principle of Hermetic law is mentalism. All is mind. That's the kind of perspective that I explained earlier. Perspective is the first thing. It starts with the mind, your view on your path, your life. If you hate your life, if you love your life, it really changes a lot, and that's where it all begins. Your perspective, and you really have to learn to get the right perspective, I guess you could say. It's hard to get there, but once you understand it and you can clearly see, it becomes a lot easier. The second one is correspondence. There's always correspondence or reactions between the laws of phenomena of the various planes of being and life. Physical, mental, and spiritual. As above, so below. So I take this as, what happens in the universe and in the planets, in the galaxy, it all has effects on the Earth. And what happens on the Earth also has effects in the universe. So they're all connected. That kind of relates to astrology and, doing readings and how they determine things by looking at your astrology chart in readings. And that's something I want to get into later on as well. Let's see. The third law is vibration. The idea that motion is manifested in everything. Nothing rests. It always moves, vibrates, and circles. Explains that the difference between matter, energy, mind, and spirit are the result of different vibrations. Now, to change one's mental state is to change your vibration. You can do this with applying will, kind of like perspective. You want to change your perspective to do something. It takes your will to change your perspective. To get that desired state of being or vibration. The fourth one is the principle of polarity, which I talked about, dual reality. Everything has two poles. Everything has its opposite. All things have two sides, two aspects. Everything is or isn't. Ideas, truths are half-truths. Every truth is a half-false. Opposites are identical, yin and yang. It's kind of confusing, but when you think about it, it makes sense. I like yin-yang, the black with the white dot in it and the white with the black dot in it. It's, good with the negative and negative with the good. If you have something negative, usually something good happens. If something good happens, usually something negative follows along. But on to the next one, the principle of rhythm. Everything has a measured motion, a form, an intake and outtake. It explains the rhythm between opposites, kind of like a swinging pendulum, and it enables transition from one point to another, kind of like movement, like it represents your decision, your thinking. Should I go this way? Should I go that way? Should I go to the white side? Should I go to the black side? Kind of relates to that. Number 6 is the principle of cause and effect. This explains that there is a cause for every effect and effect for every cause. It's kind of self-explanatory. You push something, it moves. You cause something to happen, it has an effect. That's pretty much that one. Number 7 is gender. Now there's 2 forms of the explanation for gender. The first one basically explains that gender is manifested in everything, basically to procreate, generate, produce masculine or feminine qualities of something. There's also an aspect of mental gender, left or right, good or bad. Everything contains principles to guide its manifestation. The masculine is direction of giving out or expressing, or basically your willpower. The feminine part is the direction of receiving. Also, it gives structure. Without the feminine, there is no control, and it will result in chaos. But feminine on its own will be stagnant and not do anything. So you kind of need both together to create. You need male and female to create life. That makes sense. You need white and black, or negative and positive, to create magic. It all relates. Like I said before, the key to becoming a good magician is to first learn how to change or control yourself. Self-transformation is the key to moving forward. Now, another topic I want to talk to you about is the conscious and subconscious mind. There's differences between them, obviously. What I wanted to talk about is the fact that religion or faith is based in your subconscious mind, and it's something that you have to believe in your conscious mind and your subconscious mind in order for it to work correctly. And this is a pretty deep subject, and I gotta explain it a little more detailed to you, so I wanted to save that for the next video. And I hope that you learned a little bit in this first video. I know it was kind of long and boring, but these are the basic things that I think you should know, and get these things down before you can move on to the much cooler and exciting things. So yeah, let me know what you think. Hope you guys listen to my next one, and have a good day.